Hello there, welcome to another OET vocabulary quiz. This time we're going to be looking at how to explain what an ulcer is using lay language. Remember, that's so important for your OET because you have to explain things in the speaking subtest using everyday lay language that's not medical, but that is easily understandable by your average person. So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at what an ulcer is and how you can explain that to a patient. We'll look at some common examples and of course we'll look at some treatment. We're going to be focusing particularly on pronunciation because I know a lot of you want to check that you're pronouncing these things correctly. So we're going to focus on that. My name's Sona, I'm your online tutor with Bose Learning and I'm a premium preparation provider of the OET. Okay, so first of all then, how do you pronounce this word? I said it really quickly at the beginning. Were you listening carefully? Well, it's ulcer. So this is an ul, not a u, but it's like up, ulcer, ulcer. The R in British English is very weak, so we would say ulcer, and the stress is at the beginning, ulcer. Okay, so what is it then? How do you explain it? Well, according to Macmillan Dictionary, we have this definition. Can you fill in the gaps? Have a little read and then we'll go through it. Okay, so this is a dictionary definition. As I say, it's from Macmillan, and we would say a sore area. So pronunciation here, sore, a sore area on the inside of an organ in your body or on your skin that sometimes bleeds or produces a poisonous substance. So that's the definition. It's an area that's sore. It could bleed or produce a poisonous substance. Now, in terms of pronunciation, sore, bleeds, and poisonous, poisonous. That's a dictionary definition. If you were talking to a patient, maybe a dictionary definition is not not the ideal one to use. You want to use something more accessible. So you could say something like this. This is my definition. It's a bit like the opposite of a blister. So a blister forms a bubble of fluid and it's domed, whereas an ulcer is kind of the opposite. It's an indent, so it goes in, it's a little hole, an indent into the skin like a small hole. So you're explaining what it is, you're giving your patient a description. It's like a hole, it's the opposite, it's not domed, it's not a blister, it's the opposite. Rather than going up, domed, it goes down, it creates a small hole. As I say, that's my explanation, but let's have a look at a more medical explanation. I'm not a healthcare professional, I'm an English teacher, so all my information comes from the NHS website, and I'm going to put in the URLs below. And again, let's just read through what they say. They've given us some examples, and we'll really focus in on pronunciation. So a common type of ulcer that your patients might have is a stomach ulcer, which is also known as gastric ulcers. And these are sores. So again, we have this word, sore, that develop on the lining of the stomach. You can get ulcers in the intestine or intestine. We pronounce it both ways. I say intestine, just beyond the stomach, which are called duodenal ulcers. And stomach ulcers and duodenal ulcers are also sometimes called peptic ulcers, and they have the same symptoms and treatment. Common signs include burning or this lovely word here. How do we pronounce this? Gnawing pain. So we would pronounce it with gnawing, gnawing pain in the center of the tummy or abdomen. Another kind of ulcer is a mouth ulcer. These are common and should clear up on their own. Clear up, of course, means get better, and that normally takes a couple of weeks. But you should see a GP or a dentist if it lasts longer than 3 weeks. Some lovely reassurance here. Mouth ulcers are rarely a sign of anything serious, but they may be uncomfortable. They need time to heal, and there's no quick fix. Again, a lovely expression that you can take away and use with you. Avoid things that irritate mouth ulcers, which will help speed up the healing process, reduce pain, and reduce the chance of it returning. So, some examples you can give of do's and don'ts to your patients. Use a soft, bristled toothbrush, drink cool drinks through a straw, eat softer foods, get regular dental checkups, and eat a balanced diet. Don't eat very spicy, salty, or acidic food if that creates problems for you. If your food is too rough or crunchy, such as toast or crisps, it might be an irritant. Don't drink very hot or acidic drinks. Don't use chewing gum. And don't use toothpaste containing this ingredient here. Do's or don'ts. Of course, you have to give that warning just in case something is not quite right. Tell your patient it's really important you see your dentist or GP if your mouth ulcer lasts longer than 3 weeks, keeps coming back, grows bigger than usual, or is at the back of the throat, bleeds, or becomes more painful, as this might be a sign of infection. Now, in the OET speaking test, you often have to signpost things. So if something is really important, you have to flag this up. You have to tell your patients and make it clear to them. It's really important you do this. Normally, be reassuring, mouth ulcers are usually harmless, but a long-lasting mouth ulcer is sometimes a sign of mouth cancer, so it's much better to get these things checked out. So warn your patients, tell them normally it's fine, but just keep an eye on it because it's much better to get things checked as early as possible. Well, I hope you found this little lesson useful. If you did, I'd be so happy if you could help me grow this channel by pressing that like button, subscribing, and sending this to friends or colleagues. Why not join me on Telegram, where I'll try and post a video for you every day, or join our mailing list for a regular dose of all things OET. I'll put the URL code in the info box below. Thanks very much and see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.